Greetings, kindred. We're going to continue our study of the book of Ezekiel. It's a study written by Pastor Lancelot Knight of the former King's Chapel. And we're beginning chapter 34, verses 1 through 10 in this particular study. So let's get started. There is nothing more important and more serious than teaching the word of Yahweh. Can you teach any subject from the 3 R's to politics, to the sciences, or to sports? But one should be forewarned from the very word of Yahweh that the consequences of error, negligence, or willful misuse of Yahweh's word by one who calls himself or even herself a shepherd of Yahweh's children are in grave severity, if not capital punishment. The analogy is this. If you claim you possess in your sheath the quickest, sharpest, most powerful sword in the universe, the two-edged sword of Yahweh, which is the word of Yahweh, Revelation 1, verse 16, and without having had any proper sword training from him, you go out into the public and begin to haphazardly wield about that sword, you can easily cause the spiritual death of many innocent people. How so? Because you see, unlike a physical sword which can only cut the body, the sword of Yahweh cuts right through soul and spirit. You had better be well trained and know what you are doing. Hebrews 4, verse 12, for the word of Yahweh is quick and powerful and sharper than any two-edged sword, piercing even to the dividing asunder of soul and spirit, and of the joints and marrow, and is a discerner of the thoughts and intents of the heart. To that end, Yeshua Messiah told us not to fear those who wield physical swords that can only kill the flesh body. We are to reverence only Yahweh and to be on guard for anyone who comes wielding a spiritual sword, claiming it is Yahweh's word and they know how to use it. Matthew 10, verse 28. And fear not them which kill the body, but are not able to kill the soul, but rather fear him which is able to destroy both soul and body in hell. Let there be no doubts. We as Yahwehists are duty bound to hold our teachers and preachers responsible for what they teach. And just like the Bereans in Acts 17 who, quote, checked out, quote, in the scriptures everything that the Apostle Paul told them, we need to check out in the scriptures everything our shepherds say too. So here's another analogy. Would you open your front door and let someone come into your house with a big sack and dump their garbage right in the middle of your living room floor? You say you wouldn't? Well, you would be much better off letting someone do that than to let someone come into your mind and dump their spiritual garbage there. Yet that's exactly what people do when it comes to those who claim to be preachers and teachers of Yahweh's word. Many false shepherds, wolves in sheep's clothing, come to the doors of people's minds and tell them that they have a sack full of precious gems from their Father that they wish to give them for a small tip, of course, or preferably a large donation or pledge. So the people get all excited and let these crooks into their heads without checking what is in their bags, which, of course, there is no need to do because they are clearly marked Christians. At this point, the phonies proceed to go about dumping their spiritual garbage and bull, or beast dung, into the seriously empty rooms of their minds. Hey, maybe this graphic picture will help some to see the mark or markings, droppings of the beast which is in the forehead, not on it. The mark of the beast is deception, i.e., believing in one's mind that he has the genuine gems of Yahweh's truth when all he has are messy piles of spiritual garbage and doo-doo, which will cause him to worship the anti-Messiah as Yeshua. I want to stop here a minute and add that Lance Knight is correct in that the mark of the beast is deception. It is not some vaccination or some computer chip that is put under the skin. But I want to go one step further and say that deception consists of the fact that the mark of the beast, the word clearly tells us, is the name. It's a name of someone. And that 666 actually represents the name of Christ. So most of your Christians have the mark of the beast in their foreheads because they worship Jesus Christ as the Messiah when he is actually the false Messiah. And I say this because if you look at what Christianity teaches, they claim the law is done away with, where the word clearly tells us, and even Yeshua says, I've not come to destroy the law, but to fulfill it, to make it whole, make it complete, not to do away with it. Yeshua Messiah says in Matthew 5:18, for verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass, one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law till all be fulfilled. So we have Christianity here representing, they've taken things like Passover and replaced it with Easter or Ishtar, the goddess of fertility, with their sexual orgies, which fertility symbols are represented by eggs and bunnies, and they've replaced the birth of Yeshua, which was during the Feast of Tabernacles, with Christmas, which is the birthday of Tammuz, or Babylonian sun god. Anyway, that's why I say Christians have that mark of the beast, and because they believe that Jesus Christ is going to return when he's already here in their minds, sitting in their temple, the false Messiah. Okay, let's continue. Okay, so I'm going to reread this. The mark of the beast is deception, believing in one's mind that he has the genuine gems of Yahweh's truth when all he has are messy piles of spiritual garbage and doo-doo, which will cause him to worship the anti-Messiah as Yeshua. So unless you have thoroughly checked a shepherd's bag of goods at the door of your mind and matched what is in his or her bag with the pictures contained in the complete unabridged guide to genuine precious spiritual gems by Yahweh, then don't let them in. They will forever mess up your mental living room with sacks full of garbage mixed with bull. In our last study, we learned in chapter 33 that repentance, a change of heart and mind, is necessary to turn our love to our Father and cease from following our former ways. That is the first step. We are then to manifest that change and that love by being doers of his word and not just hearers. So we therefore have an individual personal responsibility to eat the scroll and digest it and believe Yeshua Messiah, the word of Yahweh, rather than the traditions of men which lead to death. The reason we have spent so much time on this is because although we are about to learn that the false shepherds are going to pay dearly for starving and deceiving the people, one cannot use them as a cop-out or an excuse for being biblically illiterate, and the reason for having been slain by the sword of the soon-coming king of Babylon. This is the reason we are in the great famine of the end time, for the shepherds of our land do not prepare nutritious meals from the scroll, his word, to give to the people to feed upon, that they may become strengthened. Hence, our beautiful land from sea to shining sea has become a spiritual dearth and full of social ills and all sorts of spiritual diseases, pestilences, caused by the famine of truth. Amos 8, verse 11, Behold, the days cometh, saith Yahweh the powerful one, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor a thirst for water, but of hearing the words of Yahweh. Verse 12, And they shall wander from sea to sea, and from north even to the east. They shall run to and fro to seek the word of Yahweh, and shall not find it. oh, where have the shepherds gone? Oh, where can they be? They are shearing the flock and feeding themselves. Do they think that Yahweh doesn't see? Ezekiel 34, verse 4. The diseased have ye not strengthened, neither have ye healed that which was sick. Neither have ye bound up that which was broken, neither have ye brought again that which was driven away, neither have ye sought that which was lost, but with force and with cruelty have ye ruled them. The false shepherds have more than just neglected the physical maladies of the flock. They have not strengthened the broken-hearted and spiritually diseased among them, nor in many cases have they even spoken out against the social evils which pervade our society and are fed as normal to our people by a corrupt and immoral news, TV, movie entertainment industry, which is a large part of the hidden dynasty of education / indoctrination controlled by Satan's own. The simple neglect of scholarly study and teaching Yahweh's word line by line, which happens to be a lot of work which lazy pastors don't like, has caused our people to lose their way and even to lose their identity as the house of Israel. They have caused a double blindness whereby the Yahwehist nations of the world all call themselves Gentiles, while at the same time they believe those inhabitants of Judea, the bad figs who are neither of Israel nor of Judah, are Yahweh's chosen people. Go figure. The 10 lost tribes of Israel are lost, all right, and their minds are either void of substance or filled with garbage. Ezekiel 34, verse 5. And they were scattered because there is no shepherd, and they became meat to all the beasts of the field when they were scattered. Verse 6. My sheep wandered through all the mountains and upon every high hill. Yea, my flock was scattered upon all the face of the earth, and none did search or seek after them. Do you know about the scattering of Yahweh's sheep? Do you know the word Saxon means Sax's son, Isaac's sons? Do you know the history of how our people migrated north over the Caucasus Mountains and settled into Europe and the British Isles, and then later to the Americans? I just want to add here too, Caucasus Mountains, where they migrated to, they were called the Caucasian people because they came over those Caucasus Mountains. Okay, let's continue. Do you know the significance of why there were 13 original colonies and states? Do you know the difference between a Hebrew, an Israelite, and a Judahite or a Jew? If not, well, put some vitamins and supplements in the feeding trough if you would like to come and get them. If you haven't read the booklets, The Abrahamic Covenant by E. Raymond Capt, or perhaps The Scottish Declaration of Independence by Capt, then send us an email with your postal address and we will send one to you free of charge. Now, I just want to mention here that Lance Knight's ministry is no longer active, so you won't be able to write to him. But you can find those booklets on Amazon, or you might even be able to find them on the internet for free. Let's continue. Ezekiel 34, verse 7. Therefore, ye shepherds, hear the word of Yahweh. Though this is written and addressed to the false shepherds of Israel by Yahweh himself as a witness unto them, it is also for our benefit and strengthening and warning. For what are the chances that the false shepherds will even read it, much less take heed? Yet they are without excuse. Woe unto them. Verse 8, As I live, saith Yahweh the powerful one, surely because my flock became a prey, and my flock became meat to every beast of the field, because there was no shepherd, neither did my shepherds search for my flock, but the shepherds fed themselves and fed not my flock. Think about this in the natural sphere. If you have a flock of sheep and the shepherd ignores them and fails to put food in the trough, but instead he just takes of himself, what are the sheep going to do? They're going to wander off and end up lost in the wilderness without protection against predators. Woe to the shepherds who feed themselves and not Yahweh's people, because Yahweh the powerful one doesn't like it, and he is against them. Next verse. Note, this warning, prefaced by, As I live, saith Yahweh the powerful one, reminds me of that impending doom feeling I used to get when my mother sternly called me by my full first and last names. Verse 9, Therefore, O ye shepherds, hear the word of Yahweh. Verse 10, Thus saith Yahweh the powerful one, Behold, I am against the shepherds, and I will require my flock at their hand, and cause them to cease from feeding the flock. Neither shall the shepherds feed themselves any more, for I will deliver my flock from their mouth, that they may not be meat for them. Again, when Yahweh the Almighty is against you, you have got a major problem on your hands. And when he says he is going to put a stop to the false shepherds' fleecing and feasting method of operation, it shall be so. He will require his flock at their hand. Judgment begins at the house of Yahweh. False shepherds will be first in line for the sheep that they starve and the sick they've not healed. Will they answer to him who's divine? I think we all know the answer to that. Okay, this concludes this portion of Ezekiel 34 of Lance Knight's study. I hope you've enjoyed it. If so, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. That would be greatly appreciated. And you can find some of my other platforms here. I'm posting Monday night, 7 p.m. Eastern Time live streams on the Lily of Valley Telegram channel. If you'd like to join and listen to us, we have some meat for you. All right, until next time, Yahweh bless.